time. And I am thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, all right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it. Huntsville in particular, so congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, and probably much more than that, and hundreds of billions of dollars of investment, and that's billions, because it can't be millions, it's billions and billions of dollars.
Grand
Most
Rising.
importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it. I want to thank Secretary Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job. And
okay, so besides 30,000 jobs, this never explained to us what the move was. Like, this never said that, okay, from this point, we can actually launch things into space better. Like, it never said, like, oh, by moving our, space command to this place, it helps us navigate through space. It helps us keep track of things in space. It gives us a better signal of what's going on. Like, he never said any of that. He never really told us what the move was about besides another way to get more money. This is another way to tax people, another way to get more money, another way to say we got to fund something else. He never really, this whole hour that they spent last night. Now, mind you, people spent about 5 hours waiting for him to have this big announcement. And then the big announcement is we're going to need more American money to build this space station center. Come on.
Secretary of the Air Force, Troy Mink. Troy, thank you very much. Great job you're doing, Troy. This is such a big deal. This is one that everybody wanted to know. What are you doing? I also want to thank Senators Katie Britt, and I want to give my condolences. Her grandmother just passed away. She was 100. Right? Well, and she was very proud of you. Very, very proud of you. So thank you, Katie. She must have been to produce you indirectly. I can tell you.
To produce you indirectly. Shut up.
Coach. And I won't say anything about what happened with Alabama football this weekend, but you're not
to produce you indirectly.
But Tommy,
she has to be amazing.
So you're happy. Tommy's been a great senator, and fantastic guy all around. He was also a tremendous.
That looked like Freddy Krueger.
House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Thank you.
That's all it is. Bunch of word salad.
Mike, thank you very much. Doing great, Mike. Representatives Barry Morall, great friends, Robert Adderholt, Gary Palmer, and Dale Strong. Thank you all very much, fellas. Appreciate it. In my first term, I created a thing called Space Force. So important. We were losing the race in space very badly to China and to Russia. And now we're far and away #1 in space, and reestablished Space Com with a mission to protect American space assets and detect any threat to our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the Spacecom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration.
Everything he says got something to do with Biden. Biden did this too.
We're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this, and this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be. I will say I want to thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatic.
Definitely make sure you smash that like button.
And we can't have that. When the state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections, because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also. In Huntsville, Spacecom will play a key role in building the Golden Dome, as you know.
Hit that like button. Let's get to 20 likes.
To be a participant in it. Missile defense shield. We're going to be.
Can we get let's get the 20 likes in the room. Let's get the 20 likes in the room. Let me know where y'all coming in from, what country, what state. Let's get some activity in the comment section and let's get the likes up real quick. All right. Let's get some activity in the comment section. Let's get the likes up. I even like from the channel you blocked. Only joking, bro. Listen, you a troll. You're a troll. So I'm going to block your channels. I know you're a troll. You set up in the Discord. You try to get attention. Y'all are attention seekers. You sit there and make a bunch of different accounts. You came from the Jaguar right negative sector, right? So you're the one that's starting it. I want you to think about that. You're coming in here. You're trying to make it seem like somebody blocked you for no reason, right? We're on a whole different subject. We don't even talk about Jaguar right no more, right? But y'all still come in from the Jaguar right sector trying to make yourself be seen. When y'all the ones that come with the negative. You know you come with the negative. You'll start saying stuff like, stay off my page. Don't go look at my page. Stop watching me, Ralph. Like, you'll start doing some weird ass shit like I'm stalking you or some shit, and I don't even know who you are. So yes, I block you. I block you. Whenever you start that victim shit to try to make yourself be seen, and then you play the victim like somebody attacking you, yes, I block you. I don't even understand why y'all come to this page if y'all don't like it. Like, it doesn't make sense to keep on coming to this page, checking on this page, talking in the comment section if you really don't want to be here. So obviously you like my attention. Obviously you want me to say something to you because you keep coming back. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You bring it up because you want the attention from it. We haven't talked about nobody from the Jaguar right sector in over a month. But here y'all are, keep popping up. Why? Because y'all thought the page was going to fail. Y'all thought that I wasn't going to make it on TikTok. Y'all thought y'all was going to scare me back over to, y'all thought I wasn't going to make it on YouTube. Y'all thought y'all was going to run me back over to, you know what I mean? You thought you was going to run me back over to TikTok. Whatever it is that y'all thought, put some false lies on me. Whatever it is, it's cool. Why ain't you joking with me about the topic that we talking about Trump, about the shit we've been talking about for the last month and a half? You going all the way back, and you know you're going to get blocked again because that's what you do. You build up, and then you say some ignorant ass shit either to my mods or something, and you know you're going to end up getting blocked again. So I don't even know why you keep playing this game back and forth with yourself. Can't you find another space to occupy? Isn't it someone else you can go disturb or bother? Or is it just me? Is it just me?
Having a golden dome that the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. The finest, the best. And by the way, Canada called. They want to be a part of it, and that'll be great. But Canada wants very much to be included in that, and we're going to work something out with them, I hope. It will also ensure that our technological capabilities, of which we're way ahead of anybody else, there's nobody close, remain unmatched long into the future. So I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth to say a few words. He was very much a part of it. And really everybody behind me was. Every one of these people would call me and lobby me. I said, Katie, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I know what you want. She said, that's right, sir. That's what I want. And they got their way. So I just want to congratulate. These are really wonderful people. They're politicians in many ways, but they're great patriots. I think even more so.
Just block them and move on.
So they fought very hard to get it, and it's an honor to give it to Huntsville. Pete, say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As usual, right place, right time, for the right reason. In your first administration, you established the Space Force at a time when we knew we had to be looking to that domain of space. You also reestablished SpaceCom to ensure that priority was put in place, and you, through the Air Force, independently identified that Huntsville, Alabama was the right place to put it. For other reasons, in the next administration under Biden, they decided to put it somewhere else. Well, during that time, the DOD Inspector General,
I want you to understand something. just because you follow on multiple pages, that doesn't mean nothing. That just means you're trolling that hard, right? The energy that you bring is what matters. I don't care how many I don't care how many pages you subscribe on, right? If you come in with messed up energy, you could take all 3 of those pages with you, right? And I keep on repeating that we mainly care about the energy over here, right? That we mainly care about the energy. So if you keep coming with messed up energy, right, you're going to get blocked. That's just simple. I don't care how many pages you subscribe on. I don't care how many pages you follow on. I don't care. Stop coming with messed up energy. Stop trying to make yourself the center of attention. Stop trying to basically big yourself up to make it seem like you're such a great supporter when you know you're not, right? You only follow to troll, right? And then you try to argue with mods. That's all you do. You come over here, you argue with mods, and then you troll. And then you did the same thing in the Discord. So you're not supporting, you're trolling. It's a difference.
Government Affairs Office, they did their own assessments, and where did they say Spacecom should go? Huntsville, Alabama. So precisely where it should be based on what the Space Force, the Air Force, your leadership believes will give us strategic advantage in the future. That is Huntsville, Alabama. We are way ahead in space, but this will ensure we stay leaps and bounds ahead because that's the most.
So this is why I say, like, maybe what they're talking about has more to do with the 3-Eye Atlas. Maybe some of the stuff that they're talking about has more to do with the 3-Eye Atlas. This was supposed to be the big announcement. This was supposed to be a big announcement. So if what I'm hearing is correct, then we need to be protected from whatever is in space, because this is the big announcement. They're saying that, technology and everything is going to be advanced because of this movement, right? And we're preparing for whatever, right? To keep us strategically ahead of whatever's going on in space. That's what I just heard. And one's in the chat if you guys heard the same thing. We got a 3-Eye Atlas comet headed this way that they saying might be alien, so on and so forth. They say it has its own lights coming from it. They say it's going to be visible. They say it's moving strategically. It's purposely, moving behind the sun to hide itself from us in the time of November, right? So I'm more so on the line of thinking like some Star Trek shit is going on, right? One's in the chat. I feel like Spock and, Captain Kirk and them, I feel like some type of Star Trek adventure is going on and we just don't know about it. Somebody is out there on the Galactic Federation, you know what I'm saying? And some type of star cruise ship, some shit is going on and they not telling us about it. You know what I'm saying? Like something's happening in space. Russia and China just now, talked about their space program, about how they're joining. And remember, we did have a race for space during that whole moon operation, right? So maybe now that the truth is coming out about us not really landing on the moon, maybe now that maybe that re-entered a race for space type of game, right? That Busby dude, he literally, not Busby, what's his name? The one that went into space. He literally said that they lost the technology to get there and it'll take too long to get it back. He said something about like it'll take 6 months or longer to try to get the stuff back in order to get there. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this space talk is actually like, you know what I'm saying? Like what's really going on? Sounds like you've been inhaling that orange gas from the source. Orange gas. Okay. I don't think you actually paying attention. They're talking about space 3-Eye Atlas is headed this way. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for paying attention to the moon, stars, and the quasars and what's going on in the Lyran constellation. Maybe I'm wrong for paying attention to the reset, the Aquarius sky, and the fact that nothing new happens under the sun. I don't know.
Whoever controls
We'll keep listening.
will control the future of warfare. And Mr.
Whoever
President,
controls the sky controls the future of warfare. Okay.
Mr. President, we are grateful for your leadership.
I want you to notice how they didn't say that whoever controls the sky controls the peace. They didn't say nothing like that. They said warfare, right? Donald Trump is changing our Department of Defense to Department of War, right? There's a lot of things changing, and I just want you guys to open your eyes to it. That's all I want you guys to do is open your eyes to it. That's why we have this page. That's why we try to keep you guys informed. That's why we do the commentary. That's why we break it down. We speak on some of the things that you don't want to speak on. We say the thoughts that you might be thinking, but you don't want to say it out loud. We say that out loud over here so we can hold the conversation about it, so we can see through it, right? The idea is to see a better day, to see a better light. And yes, every Friday we will be doing a panel where everybody can come up on the panel and talk. So make sure you subscribe to the page. We'll either do it where we do a Discord panel, because you can have up to 100 people in the Discord. So we'll do it where we bring up a Discord panel, or every Friday we'll bring up a Discord panel. So make sure you get over to the Discord and join the Discord. Every Friday we'll bring up a Discord panel and we'll talk about everything that took place throughout the week. But since we're still in the week, you got to listen to my bullshit, all right? So hit the like button and make sure you copy the link. If you can't share the live, just copy the link for me one time, please. Just copy the link. It goes a long way. So they're talking about space. You know, they just, Putin, India, China, all of them just had a big meeting. And I want you guys to think their summit is coming up. They got a November summit coming up. That's what we're watching till. We're going to keep track of this because the summit that's coming up in November, it's a big summit. All of the leaders are supposed to be there, right? 26 leaders of the world just met the other day, right? So I want you guys to understand exactly what's going on in the world, because things are changing. We are going to try to bring forth different variations of conversations regarding, Sumerian gods and how this relates to the biblical text, and why they keep bringing up spiritual words like woke or, golden age, golden dome, all of these different things. The power is in the tongue. So with their words, they're telling us the truth, but they're also putting a lot of, glamour on it. I think the best way to describe it is kind of like what Kanye West said. He called it the bread and the circus, right? So the bread is the truth that's in between all of this. But the circus is all of the other stuff that they're talking about. Oh, I just heard that your mom passed away. Oh, I just heard your grandma passed away. All of these things that pull on different feelings and emotions, these are the things that they're using to distract you from what they're actually telling you. And what they're actually telling you is the danger is coming from space. At least they want you to think that, right? Now, this comes with the buildup. So they got to keep on repeating this. Repetition. So they got to keep on repeating this before they can even try to put Operation Blue Beam in effect, or make it seem like that there was a big, space war. It's all about population, okay? Ones in the chat if you agree that it's about population. Ones in the chat. Is this population control? Ones in the chat. And then I need y'all to sub to the page.
in Huntsville, Alabama. This delegation has worked together, both chambers, both parties, to make sure that Huntsville was the place that Space Command called home. As was mentioned, obviously the Biden administration chose to make this political. What we want to do is put the safety and security of Americans first. We want to make sure that our war fighter is put first.
War
We want to
fighter.
make sure that America continues to lead. And today, Mr. President, you've allowed that.
War
to happen.
fighter.
Thank you.
Not defense. War fighter.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great day for our country, not just for our state of Alabama. We need help in our military. We need to catch up. And as Secretary has said, we're not behind in space, but we know where we're at, and we need to expound on that. Now, this move will save the taxpayers $480 million. It's not going to cost more. It's going to cut $480 million. We have the plans intact. It'll be behind a secure wall in Huntsville, Alabama, Resident Arsenal. We have 40,000 people there. We have FBI there. We have missile defense there. We have NASA, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. It is the perfect place for Space Command. I would tell you today, and I've spoke with the president for the last 3 or 4 years about this.
So, if SpaceX is there and they're putting our Space Command there, then this clearly is some type of agreement with Elon Musk then. Or are they putting it there to monitor Elon Musk's activities? Or is Elon Musk a part of this activity? Because think about it. You're talking about building a great dome. You're saying that Canada wants to get involved with this, right? So on and so forth. This is big. This is big stuff. You know what I mean? We're talking about space here. They wanna put a way to protect our space properties, right? So this goes right back to, the cultivation of Mars, them trying to put man's consciousness and technology. Everything that's happening right now goes right back to conspiracy theories. All those conspiracy theories that y'all said was wrong, y'all told us stop talking about, y'all told us didn't make sense. And right here in the government, they are talking about nothing but conspiracy theories. Y'all don't see that? One's in the chat if y'all don't see it.
If I thought it
No,
needed to go
one's in the
somewhere
chat
else
if y'all
to
see
understand
it.
the security of our country, I'd be for that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to building a huge Space Command and having the Donald J. Trump Space Command Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
The Donald J. Trump. Hold on. The Donald J. Trump Space Command. What's this? Some Buzz Lightyear or Star Command type shit? Donald Trump Space Command. When did we agree upon that name? We didn't agree upon that. We didn't agree to call that shit no Donald Trump Space Command. We look forward to building the Donald Trump Space Command. What? What did you just say?
If I thought it needed to go somewhere else because I understand the security of our country, I'd be for that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to building a huge Space Command and having the Donald J. Trump Space Command Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
Donald J. Trump Space Command Center. That better not be the name of that shit.
President, thank you. I'll be very brief here. I lobbied the president hard to put it in.
They better not make that the name of that shit.
These Alabamas are just too powerful and too persuasive. And so it's in Alabama, but as Tommy said, this is exactly the right place for Space Force and Space Command. I think Americans ought to appreciate the fact that you can't win the battle of the future unless you control the skies. The cyber security, the communications, the entire infrastructure of the battle in the 21st century will be in space. So it was a visionary move in the first administration for the president to set up Space Force. and I think an equally visionary move to make sure the Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you.
So I want to explain to y'all what they said, okay? When they said the battle will be in space, they're talking about two things. One, they're talking about the internet, digital, making sure that we are protected from cyber attacks, so on and so forth, cyber terrorism, whatever you want to call it. That's the first thing that they're talking about, right? Putting extra layers of protection out there in space. And obviously you would have to work with Elon Musk when it comes to that. He has a lot of stuff going on when it comes to that. And then another thing that they're talking about is psychological, right? Because this is the control of space. Space is also connected to your mind. Just like your body is connected to the earth, space is connected to your mind. You might want to study the laws of the cosmos in order to understand exactly what I just said. All right. So according to the laws of the cosmos, the space that they're talking about has a lot to do with your mental. So you got psychological war games. It doesn't matter, MK Ultra. It doesn't matter if it's Operation Blue Beam. It doesn't matter if it's, that DEW weapon, whatever the case may be. These are the different forms of understandings that you should know when they're talking about this, when they're using these variations of words, right? Our future battles will be fought in space, right? Therefore, we're going to have to raise our level of intellect in order to, reach a certain vibrational frequency that allows us to operate in that space that they're speaking of. Okay. So let's just keep up the par with this.
Mr. President, another promise made, another promise kept. You think about it, Redstone Arsenal is critical to national security. The president said...
they know they got that motherfucking KKK still there. That's why.
Security. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. It's not because of this or that. It's because it's right for national security.
If it's low IQ, it's because you're the one with the low IQ.
To determine what was best for national security. All indicators pointed back to Huntsville, Alabama, and Redstone Arsenal. We have the right people at the right place at the right time. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of the 5th Congressional District and all of Alabama, thank you for keeping your word. Absolutely.
Mr. President,
Don't nobody know nothing about no damn
and,
Alabama.
thank you for doing this because it was the right thing to do. All the when they looked at all the numbers,
What
Huntsville was the
numbers?
place to go, and like you say, it was unfortunately pulled out, but you made it right. So I want to just say thank you again for a grateful nation, and to the state of Alabama, we're very grateful. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you.
What numbers? Are they talking about vote? Are they talking about money?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Because
Throughout history, militaries has always understood that whoever could hold the high ground held the advantage. Space is the ultimate high ground. And what we're doing with moving the Space Command to Huntsville is absolutely critical to our maintaining dominance in that sphere. And it goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with the Golden Dome and missile defense to defend against anyone else who tries to enter that sphere. So thank you, Mr. President.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And obviously, national defense is a huge issue. And when you look at the scores, Alabama was #1. And for political reasons, it was moved out of our state. But, Mr. President, thank you for making priorities the defense and the warfighter and the safety of this nation. And the big, beautiful bill, that Golden Dome, will be built in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Listen, as chairman of the Armed Services Committee, I care very much about what's most important for our national security. And the president held a nationwide competition to determine where we should have this command. If y'all remember, at the end of that competition, where Alabama came in first, there was a lot of complaints from the other states who did not place well. He said, we'll do it over with new criteria to accommodate your concerns. Alabama came in first in that second competition. His Secretary of the Air Force reviewed the results, said it was fair, and the president named Huntsville.
What was the test? What was the test? He said that he did a nationwide competition right? This is how you know they're lying to our face, right? This is how you know they're lying to our face. What was this nationwide test? What was the test? What did it consist of, right? This is to determine whether this was a good spot to build, right? What did they test? Did they test the land? Did they test the air? Did they test rockets to see if it propelled better? Is this a different access point to space, right? What did they test? They said that it was a nationwide test to determine that Alabama was the right place for this space command, right? They said they did 2 tests. They actually had a competition. So how do you compete? That's what I'm trying to ask y'all. How do you compete for the rights to a space command? How was that a competition? How did you compete for that? It's like, oh, we have the best students. Like, what is the competition? We have the most people. What is the competition? I don't get what they're saying. Like, you know, Alabama won out on the competition. If it's a bid, then say, you know, Alabama, you know, paid the most money for this program. Alabama forked over the most money for this program. You know what I mean? They say the numbers keep on, you know, Alabama won out. They won out. What? How did they win out? What was the race? Was it a 50-yard dash? Was it a, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was it? What was this race? What was this competition? Was it a water competition? Was it a basketball event? What was the competition that Alabama won out on? Look it up. You look it up. That's why I'm asking you, smart ass. You look it up. As you don't, instead of you just saying you don't know, you want me to look it up, right? It's public information. I know. Keep going with the sarcasm. You're doing great. Huntsville, Alabama has a NASA headquarters. They have been stuff with space in Alabama for years. No. I know that because that's where Elon Musk has his at. That's where Elon Musk has his SpaceX. One of the SpaceX programs is in Alabama. A corporal thing. Okay, so they had the most businesses willing to support such a project, basically, right? And we have a military base there too that can protect it. But basically what they're saying is Alabama had the most support when it comes to putting together this project. Their companies and stuff like that supported this project, basically. In a corporal sense.
It was the Biden administration that decided to make it political, even though his own Secretary of the Air Force said it was a fair competition and it should be in Huntsville. So I want you to know I appreciate this president standing up and being strong and saying he's going to make this right and put it where it rightfully belongs. That's Huntsville, Alabama.
So thank you all very much. You are going to leave me alone now. You're not going to call me anymore and talk about this subject, right? You promise? They'll start something else. But I just want to congratulate you. It's a very big deal. When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago, and our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it. We didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over. Do you have any questions, please? Yeah, please.
Senator Tuberville, you talked about the cost savings
Yeah.
associated with this announcement. Can you talk about the strategic benefits by having Space Force Command headquartered in Huntsville?
Well, it just works because we have so much else there. And having a central, you could call it a central command, but it really is a command station. Also, even locationally, where it is, and when you think about flying distances, or you can go for half an hour as fast as some of these planes go and things go, and even the rockets go, if you can save by having the best location. So we went out, as you know,
See?
to experts,
Rockets.
and we had
Rocket
4
City.
different
That's what they
groups
said they're going
of
to change it
experts. They all
to.
said this was the best location. I also loved it from the standpoint, I know the people of Alabama, they are great people, work hard, and there's no games, and they're very proud of it. And I would say they fought harder for it than anybody else also. A lot of states, 5 states really
That's where
wanted
they
it.
was going to put it at in
But, they
Ohio.
wanted it more, and I
Even the
kid you
vice
not, when I
president
say
voted
that
for it
these
to be
people,
in Ohio.
they spoke to me a lot. That's all they wanted to talk about. They didn't want to talk about the weather. They only wanted to talk about moving to this location, moving to Alabama, Huntsville in particular. So we're honored to do it. They really wanted it badly, and they got it. Peter?
President Trump, something completely different.
Yeah,
but
gold,
something
gold
social
dome.
media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead?
Look at this. This dude gets on my nerves because this is the same dude who asked President Zelensky about his suit. He's the same dude. Now he's got a different suit on. If you notice, his suit is clean, right? He's got a different tie on, right? This is the same dude who the president of Ukraine roasted. The president of Ukraine roasted him and was like, oh, you see, I have a different suit on. You still got the same suit on. But right here, he changed his suit. There's a brand new suit that he got on right here, right? But listen to the dumb, asinine shit that he says, right? He say, oh, President, how does it feel over the weekend finding out that it's trending that you're unalived, right? Now, mind you, the president already keeps on talking about fake news, fake news, fake news. And how many of us on the internet already seen where they put certain people unaliving, this person, celebrity unaliving, so on and so forth, right? But he gonna say, oh, how does it feel, finding out you were dead, blah, 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 right? Trump acts like he don't know about it, but then Trump goes on to speak about how, I just found out that just listen to how Trump responds, letting you know that he knows about it. This is why I say all this shit is circle talk, man. Somebody paid him to ask this question because this question has nothing to do with the space program. It has nothing to do with him reading the room or anything. Like, this shit don't even make sense how does it feel over the weekend?
You see that? People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Well,
You didn't see it?
I have heard it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something
He
wrong
must be
with him.
sick. Listen.
Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did
Rocket City.
a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club.
Yeah, Rocket City, it sells, right? I mean, you got Elon Musk right there with
No, I've been very
SpaceX.
active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
You got a military base right there.
It's just so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were
they're
saying,
the
like,
media.
is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong?
They're the media. These guys are the media.
It's also sort of a longer
It's like the
weekend.
media is so
So,
terrible.
no, I was very active.
Terrible,
this
terrible media.
I had heard that, but I didn't hear it today.
Sir.
Go ahead, Peter.
Something else.
We are the
Federalism
media.
has a huge problem with
Look.
school shootings. You've said that you're open to sending the National Guard pretty much anywhere.
He's friends with Peter.
Sending an armed
He's friends with
National
Peter.
Guardsman to every school.
Well, we have a big problem with school shooting, but we also have thousands and thousands of schools that run perfectly. You know, they talk about you can do things construction-wise, and that's really I think nobody knows more about construction than me. You can build the construction doors. You can build what they call safety doors, where they lock on the outside, the inside, and every place else. Well, but if one of these lunatics happens to get through, then the police can't get in.
It's gonna mess up. I gotta
Then
charge
they're
my phone real
looking
quick.
for keys all over the place, and it takes a lot of
gonna static a little
disadvantages
bit.
to doing, spending billions and billions of dollars and actually making it safer in some way for some of these lunatics that we're dealing with. But I don't think so. I've thrown out the concept. We have great teachers that love our children. The parents love the children. Teachers love the children too. And if you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, et cetera, and you let them carry, that's something that a lot of people like. I sort of liked it. It have to be studied, but they're trained. They know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know, and but I always thought that
Well,
would be
too
an
bad we
alternative.
got the right to bear arms.
But it just we've had a lot of instances. Other countries have also. They have different kinds of problems than we have, but we do have. There's something going on. And it's a bad thing. Yes, please.
Have you spoken with President Putin in the past week? Have you spoken with President Putin?
Yeah, I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Consequences if there isn't some type of announcement of a meeting with President Putin and President Zelensky, and what could those consequences
We're going to
be?
see what happens. We're going to see what they do and what happens. I'm watching it very closely. Last week they lost 7,000 between the two countries. 7,313 soldiers, to be somewhat exact.
Y'all hit that like button. Hit that like
For
button.
no
Sorry
reason
for the coughing.
whatsoever. And they're Russian
I'm
and they're
sick.
Ukrainian, but they're soldiers.
I'm on special
I wanna see
medication.
it end. Yeah.
Have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say we don't need help, we're safe. But 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets. Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed.
He
and
ain't gonna
50
be
hit with bullets. And you have this governor get up, who's a terrible governor. Probably he and Gavin Newsom.
He
would be
said it's
probably
not
the two
no
most
longer a matter
naive.
of if he's
They're
going in
naive.
Chicago. It's only a
They're naive, but
matter
they're
of
very
when.
unfaithful. And he'll say, we don't need any protection. We don't need.
So he
in
say
the
we're
last
going
2
in.
weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place.
Yeah,
in the
I got
world,
my medicine right now.
including
You
you
know, I
can go to
gotta
Afghanistan, you
inhale
can go
it.
to
You
places
know,
that you would think
it
of.
just
Wouldn't even come close to this.
you know,
She come-
it's just a it's just a medicine for my lungs. You know, I gotta roll it and then light it, and it helps with my lungs. You know, it's like bronchitis medicine, but it's for my cataracts. You know, it helps with my lungs and my glaucoma. You know what I'm saying? So, in order for me to see, it's the glaucoma. You know what I'm saying? You sound like you need to eat. Man, listen, if I showed you my body right now, you'd be like, never mind, you strong as shit, you big as hell, never mind. So don't try to say I sound like I need to eat, okay? I promise you, I'm healthy. I promise you. Muscles, you know what I'm saying, abs, I'm good to go, okay? I do push-ups, I work out, I'm good to go, all right?
Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now. Parts of Los Angeles are terrible. If we didn't put out the fires, and I mean
I do
the
smoke,
other
and I'm
fires,
healthy
the
as an
bullet
ox.
fires, they didn't do a good job with it. They should have had the water coming down, like I said. We had to release the water. We had to go in and release the water to LA. It's so badly run. But if I didn't send the National Guard into Los Angeles,
They said I
would
need to
be
eat the
making
medicine.
an announcement today. I'd be talking
I'm
about
trying to make it
Huntsville,
into a T.
and I'd simultaneously be
Trying to
saying,
make
by the
a
way,
T.
the Olympics is not coming to Los Angeles.
I see what they're
If
saying.
we
I'm
didn't do
sorry.
that, if we
I
didn't do
apologize.
that,
I
and even the
apologize.
sheriff, the top
Maybe
law
I need
enforcement
to,
person in
do
Los
edibles
Angeles
instead.
said,
But
we could not have handled it without them.
I'm old school. You know
So,
how old
that's what he
school
said.
works,
And
man.
the on Chicago.
It's like our grandparents
Well,
still
no, I
rolling
didn't.
up joints
I
and
didn't
shit.
say
You know what I mean?
When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks.
You try to get
And
them to smoke that brown
75
paper, they like,
shot
white
with
paper
bullets.
only.
So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here.
Yeah, rolling up them damn
It's now a
fingers
safe
and
zone.
shit.
We have no
You
crime.
gotta
We
roll
have-
up a blunt that
it's
look
in
like a
such
finger.
great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children.
Don't
your
act like
wife,
y'all
your
ain't got
husband.
y'all
You can walk
coffee
right
and y'all
down the
blunt in
middle
the
of
morning.
street. You're not gonna
Some of
be
y'all
shot.
got vape
You're
pens.
safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression.
As you speak, see what I'm saying?
But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C.
Look, you know they gotta show her.
Washington,
You know they gotta
D.C.
show her. She got a
is
story
safe zone
and
right
she
now.
pregnant.
It's a safe city.
I got the story right
restaurants
here,
are open.
President. I walked
They're
around in
booming.
the
You can't
streets
get a
and got
restaurant.
robbed,
New restaurants are
remember?
announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad.
You guys might be trying to ask, like, why is this important? Why is this so important? I'll explain to you why. You know she lied. Somebody had a gun in her face and she said no. And man, listen, they would have pew-pewed your ass. Listen, but I want y'all to know why this is so important, right? You know, when we pay attention to the media, right? This is why I say we got to pay attention to this, because what they show us, right, on this world stage, because the world is one big stage, right? What they show us on the world stage has nothing to do with what's really going on in the world, right? What we see is not really what's going on in the world, right? And that's why I say, like, the world is one big stage, because they're telling us one thing, but you got to really listen, you know, because this is Mystery Babylon. They figured out a manipulation with money magic, and a lot of the stuff that they talk is just money. They talk a lot of money. They just phrase it differently. Oh, there was a competition and Alabama won out on a competition. You mean money? Oh, there was a war and we benefited from the war. You mean money? Oh, there was a state fair and everybody participated at this. You mean money? Oh, we got to take away from this event because of money? Like, you have to really listen to everything that they're saying, because it's manipulated between this Mystery Babylon. And that Mystery Babylon is that currency, right? The operation of the currency. And because the operation of currency is changing right now, all forms of currency is changing. Not only the waters outside of your body, that's why our southern water has changed direction, and thus far they say that we're moving at a different speed, allegedly, supposedly. 3 years ago they said that there was water leaking into the Pacific Ocean from up under the ocean, which I thought was kind of ironic. Water leaking into water, that's crazy as hell. Right? So our waters are changing for sure, right? And if you notice the change that's taking place inside of you, you'll notice that the waters inside of you are changing too, right? Another form of currency, right? The way you think, it might be changing. The way you sleep, it might be changing. And the way you eat, it might be changing. Who you want to put yourself around might be changing, right? So a lot of waters are changing, and our money system is changing right now. Right? We are transferring over to a more digital currency if you're not paying attention to it, right? There's a lot of digital currency that's changing, right? So pay attention, right? And if you got to use the bathroom right now, just make sure the seat is down. before you put your ass on it. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants a wet ass. Okay? Nobody want to walk around. Then you got to walk around with days thinking that your butt going to break out because you done dipped your ass in toilet water. All right? And I don't want you walking around for days thinking that your ass is going to break out because you done dipped it in toilet water, right? That's the worst feeling ever, is to walk around with a toilet water ass. Okay? So make sure to seat down. Don't walk around with a toilet water ass.
Really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week. You know, it was like years, many years, where every single week somebody was killed for many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had, last week it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I said, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem. And we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very helpful. And the police commissioner has been very helpful. And it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw it today on one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, they were black. And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send it. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore.
See?
I saw where
He said we're going to do it anyway.
asking me to take a walk down the street.
No, he's saying that we're going to go into Chicago
It's
anyway.
rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But you know, we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. You know, we had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, something, you know, having a certain ability. Not a person that is woke and got the job through woke, but wasn't strong enough to
what
lift the gun
is
out of the
woke
holster,
and
et
through
cetera, et
woke?
cetera. No, I looked at the police, as you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting with...
Is they got a woke program? The government got a woke program?
Looking, and when the bad guys see them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place. And you can walk, Katie, you can walk right down the street with, by the way, one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen, which is her husband, who was a football player for like 11 years in the NFL. He's a big person. But big doesn't mean anything when they have guns and when they have knives and everything else that they have, right? but you can walk right down the street, even by yourself, and you're totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a great thing. Yes, ma'am, please.
Mr. President, as we're calling on Democratic leaders across the country to work this on crime, do you see your efforts here in D.C., including, for example, working with Mayor Bowser here as a model for bringing more bipartisanship in matters, not only with crime, but also issues that matter to everyday American people's lives?
So Mayor Bowser's been great. She could have taken the thing well, and then after I clean it up, they'll take credit for it. You know what they do is they take credit. Like, we cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there.
Yeah, Chicago's
And
next.
it
He
was
going to
overwhelming what was
Chicago.
going on.
One's in the
Again,
chat
police
if you
chief
think he going to
made a
Chicago.
statement that we could not have done, there's no way they could handle. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold. If we didn't do that, would have been a very sad day. And you know, remember, we have the Olympics, we have the World Cup, we have all these things coming, and we have 250. All of these things
He's
coming.
going to hell.
But I watched Newsom get up and say he's doing a great. He's not. We're the ones that did it.
Chicago
And that's
might be
okay,
hell.
whatever it takes. But the main thing is we. But he got up and said we did it. Well, he didn't want us there, and he's going to need us again because it's starting to form again. I see it. It's starting to form again. You know, we have to maintain. It's like maintenance on an airplane. You can buy it, but you have to maintain it. And if you don't maintain it, a good plane becomes very unsafe very quickly. So it's an honor to do it. It's a lot of presidents wouldn't do what I'm doing. I don't need this heat, but when I watched television last night and I'm watching the news and I see that 9 people were killed in Chicago and 54 were badly wounded with bullets, I say, that's not this country. We have to do something. And I do say this, I say this very much. I'm not speaking to anybody but them right now. I would love to receive calls from governors and mayors saying they need help. We'll help them. We have a lot of people. We have a great force. We have a great military force. You know, Pete will tell you that when I was running for office, and this was a big headline, I think, you know, probably got me a couple of votes, but you couldn't sign people in the military. Nobody wanted to join the military, the Army, Air Force, any of the Navy, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard. We never forget Coast Guard because they've done such a great job. Never. But nobody wanted to join any of them. We were way below what we wanted. Every single
And
one.
then as soon as I got in office,
Marines, whatever that is.
everybody wanted to join.
Was the Marines, but every service was way down, way down. And then I got elected, and our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. Everybody's talking about the USA. They're talking about the job that we're doing. Everybody. We have the best economy. We have a very, very important decision being made by the Supreme Court because our country is the richest, the strongest, the most powerful. But if for some reason some liberal court, I'm talking about the court that just ruled, where even an Obama judge voted in favor of us, which I gave him a compliment yesterday, as you know. I said that took great courage. But it's a liberal court, and it's going up to the Supreme Court, who I think have been incredible people. I think they've made very wise decisions. But the tariff question, because without the tariffs, this country is in serious, serious trouble. We've taken in almost $17 trillion of investment is coming in. Most of it is coming because of tariffs. And if for some reason somebody wanted to be politically correct, I actually think it's unpolitically correct. I think politically correct is to approve it because there's nothing so popular as what's happened to our country. Our country is doing so well. But we had a liberal court gave us a very shocking ruling. And that ruling is basically saying that the trillions of dollars that are pouring into our country, putting us in a position like no country is anywhere in the world.
They're saying his tariffs is illegal.
That taken away. By the way,
See?
a lot of the people behind that lawsuit, that particular, are from foreign countries. I might add.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where
they let him bully the questions.
The residents upstairs.
They always let him bully the questions.
Out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI generated.
So
actually, you can't open the windows. You know what? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window.
Including your
I've
camera.
never seen a window that's In fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be. Where was the window? Let me see.
Maybe for the renovations.
Which is the window?
It looks like, this is on the 15th Street side, I think, so right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows are they're all sealed. You can't open them.
You're saying regarding the federal.
It's the kind of thing they do. And one of the problems we have with AI, it's both good and bad. If something happens really bad, just blame AI. But also they create works
See?
both ways.
If something happens really bad, just blame AI.
AI. But there's truth to it because I see so many phony things. I saw something as I was growing up, from the time I was a baby till now. I said, who did that? It was AI generated. So it's a
From the
little bit
time he
scary.
was a baby.
Yeah,
Listen.
But those windows are all
Listen.
very heavily sealed.
Thank you, sir.
From the time I was a baby.
Regarding that federal appellate court that ruled against.
Who did that? From the time I was a baby. It's AI
They ruled
generated.
against our country, the court, and they ruled against us.
Fucking
It's a very
crazy.
liberal court. Well, it certainly is. It certainly is.
Hey, that's what, I don't
Well, except that we
know. At this
actually
point,
got
man,
one
he
of
just
the
say
Obama
anything.
Judges that was appointed by President Obama.
At
voted
this point,
in favor
that
of
man
the
just
tariffs
said-
because he felt it was imperative for our country to thrive and survive, even.
So no, so are we just gonna overlook the fact that he said that he been blaming shit on AI since he was a baby? Huh? Are we just gonna overlook the fact that he just said he been blaming shit on AI since he was a baby? Huh? He just said that. He said when his mom and them come to him like, okay, Donald, who ate the cookie? It was AI. Who went in the refrigerator, Donald? It was AI. He said he been blaming AI since he was a baby. When something bad happened, just blame AI. AI didn't exist when he was a baby.
And I gave him credit. I said, you know what? That took a lot of courage for him to do it because you don't see that often.
My question is, I imagine, I suspect you're going to appeal that all the way to the Supreme Court.
Well, we already have, yeah. In fact, we're doing something else. We're going to be going to the Supreme Court, we think, tomorrow, because we need an early decision. I mean, look, the financial fabric of our country, we're a rich, incredible country right now, and we're able to, other countries use tariffs on us for years, and we never did. I did a lot during my first term, but then we had COVID and we had to focus on other
Stop
things.
putting in all caps.
Italy, Spain, France, as they were dying by the thousands and
You're
millions.
gonna find yourself blocked.
But we did with China, and China
tried
paid us
it.
billions and billions of dollars. And I started the process, but then I had to end it a little bit because of COVID. We focused on that. It's a very important decision. And frankly, if they make the wrong decision, it would be a devastation for our country. We've taken in trillions of dollars. And by the way, all these countries signed agreements, as an example.
He's
They're
talking
all
about
happy,
tariff.
everybody's happy. But some
They
wet
saying
job
tariff
put
is
in a
illegal.
lawsuit. It went before a very liberal court, and the liberal court ruled, it was 11, they ruled 7-4, with one of the most liberal of them all voting in our favor because they're patriots. I think I give tremendous credit to that judge. And now it's going to the Supreme Court. Now we're going to be asking for early admittance. We're going tomorrow, and we're going to ask for expedited.
Let them find out.
Ruling
Let them find out the hard way.
When you look at the stock market's down today, the stock market's down because of that. Because the stock market needs the tariffs. They want the tariffs. If you look at AI, all of those, all of that money that's going to be invested, trillions and trillions of dollars, the biggest thing, bigger than the internet, I suspect. It's the internet plus 3 or 4 other things combined. We are leading very substantially with AI. We're leading because of tariffs. We're leading because of talent, and this is where they'd like to be. But without the tariffs, we wouldn't have a chance because we wouldn't be able to protect those investments of the companies coming in.
What does that mean?
If you took away
How are we
tariffs,
eating AI because of
we
tariffs?
could end up being a third world country.
What?
That's how big. So we're asking for an expedited ruling.
What?
Mr. President, as a backstop to that, President, you have a Republican-controlled Congress, you control the House, you control the
Yeah,
Senate.
but we don't have 60 votes. We don't have 60 votes.
You
I'd
don't
love to do
get
that.
enough
Oh,
votes.
if we had 60 senators, if we got the 60 votes, we would get them. But we need 60 votes, and we need, a certain number in the House.
That's why I wanted to go back and listen to this, man. This shit is not. He just don't.
Without tariffs, we're a different country. We have taken in so much money, and here's the thing.
Told
We
you.
signed a deal
Money.
with Japan. They're paying us hundreds
Follow
of
that
billions
money.
of dollars.
Follow that
We signed
money.
a deal with South Korea. We signed a deal with
With
the
NATO.
European Union. We
NATO.
signed a deal with Europe. And those countries are paying us $950 billion, and they're happy about it. They're okay. As
They're
Ron
happy
said,
about it.
It's amazing that we got away with it so long.
Shut
One of my
up.
friends, a leader of one of the countries, and they're fine with it. They all signed. If that ruling ever went against us, I guess we'd have to give back hundreds of billions. We would have to give trillions and trillions of dollars back to countries that have been ripping us off for the last 35 years. And I can't imagine it happening. On a legal basis, they have no legal basis whatsoever. But on a common sense basis, it would destroy America. Okay.
To give it back. So we can't give it back. We can't get his money back, guys.
Well, she had an interesting event. She's a tremendous woman. And so what are you asking me about her? NATO is concerned about her. Well, nobody knows where it came from, but they did take away her ability to use the phone. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that could happen to me. I'd be very happy.
Mr. President,
Reducing the tariffs on India from 50%.
What does that mean?
Are you considering taking away some of the tariffs that you've imposed on India as you had posted?
No, we get along with India very well. But India has, you have to understand, for many years it was a one-sided relationship. Only now since I came along, and because of the power that we have with tariffs, India was charging us tremendous tariffs, about the highest in the world. They were about the highest in the world, number one. And we therefore weren't doing much business with India, but they were doing business with us because we weren't charging them. Foolishly, we weren't charging them. So they would send in massive, everything they made, they'd send it in, pour it into our country.
You know they're going to respond to all of this.
Here, which is a negative. But we would not send in anything because they were charging us 100% tariffs. And, I'll give you an example. Harley Davidson couldn't sell into India. There was a 200% tariff on a motorcycle. So what happens? Harley Davidson went to India and built a motorcycle plant. And now they don't have to pay tariffs. Same thing as us. So what we're doing is literally thousands of companies are coming into the U.S. Car companies, AI, but more traditionally car companies. We have so many car company factories under construction or being designed right now. And they're coming from China, they're coming from Mexico, I must tell you, and they're coming from Canada. A lot of them coming from Canada. But they're coming into our country because they want to build here. And they want to build here for two reasons. Number one, they'd like to be here. And number two, the tariffs are protecting them. And number three, they want to avoid paying tariffs. When they build their cars here, they don't have any tariffs to pay.
Wait. Did he just say 2 reasons and then name 3? Did he say they coming here for 2 reasons and then name 3 reasons?
Literally thousands of companies are coming into the U.S. Car companies, AI, but more traditional.
He making this shit up as he
We have so
go.
many car company factories under construction or being designed right now. And they're coming from China, they're coming from Mexico, I must tell you, they're coming from Canada, a lot of them coming from Canada. But they're coming into our country because they want to build here.
Hold
And
on.
they want to build here for 2 reasons. Number one, they'd like to be here. And number two, the tariffs are protecting them. And number three, they want to avoid paying tariffs. When they build their cars here.
That's some pimp shit right there. That is some pimp
You
shit.
don't have any tariffs.
I'm going to give you these 2 reasons. And number 3. I'm going to throw this one in extra. And
across
number
the country
three.
to help them ramp up security. What's your vision for further protecting religious liberty across the country amid incidental
Coming here
threats?
for
So
two
religious
reasons.
liberty is so important.
And number three.
We're talking about every religion now, and we're doing things
There's a
that
motherfucker,
nobody
man.
else has ever done. And we're going to be announcing, we're going to be having a big
I
announcement.
said,
in
don't
about 2 weeks
correct
on that
me.
question. Yeah, please.
Space Command, so, are you concerned that people
Oh,
may not be
shit.
willing to relocate from Colorado to Alabama?
No, I'm not worried. We'll get somebody else.
Did Colorado?
I mean, the problem with Colorado is they have a very corrupt voting system. Look, I have so many friends in Colorado. Anytime you have mail-in voting, you have corrupt elections. Very simple. It's very simple. Even Jimmy Carter said it with his commission. They set up a commission with him and Scoop Jackson and some people, highly regarded people. And they said the one thing, the finding was, if you have mail-in voting, you will have corrupt elections. Well, your radical left governor decided that he was going to have all mail-in voting in Colorado. Once you have all mail-in voting, and for whatever reason, the Democrats cheat. And they cheat like, they're not stupid. That's the only thing. They're no good on policy. They're no good on management. They're no good at government.
But
But they're great at cheating. And they stick together, too. I give them credit for sticking together.
They cheat like the
It's a big
Dickens.
win for national security, moving this to Alabama. We've all can agree with that.
Big.
Is there any idea of the economic impact this has on the state and on that local area?
Katie, do you want to answer that?
I mean, this is going to be tremendous. I mean, the state of Alabama, what we've seen through this process is
Tell us,
the worst
Katie.
of Washington. We've seen politics get in the way of what is best for the warfighter, what's best for national security. And the state of Alabama is about to show the country the best among us. So we know the economic impact is going to be tremendous. There at Redstone Arsenal, we're proud to house everything from the FBI to headquarters there for material command to a number of things. We obviously have NASA with Marshall Space Flight Center, and so this naturally fits within. When you look at the decision matrix that they placed in front of us, that's why we ranked so high, is because we have the resources necessary and the ability to build out quickly to meet the needs in front of us. As far as economic impact, it would be tremendous. Does anybody have an exact number? 1,600 jobs. With 3,000 spinoff. Look at this. This is teamwork right here. So we are really proud, and the people of Alabama are ready to get to work.
And I've got a housing question, if you could, just for a second, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
please.
Owning a home and
Look. You can tell he drinking. He got a shiner right now. Look.
Recently, you
He
issued a
drank.
statement about addressing an emergency housing.
Look at that shiner.
Yeah, can you just?
He just barely made it to the conference.
A man named Jerome Too Late Powell, you probably heard of him. It's too late, it's way too late. And the economy is so strong that it's pushing through that. Normally it would have been much tougher, but we're doing so well that we're pushing through it. But it makes it very hard for people to get mortgages because too late is too late.
He was
Very
at the
simple.
bar last
So,
night. I was at the bar last
and,
night.
Probably political, whatever. He wasn't too late before the election. Before the election, he was cutting rates, right? Because he was hoping that, I guess, Biden would get in, or that Kamala would. He was a big Biden guy. Explain that one. And then he was a Kamala person, but he was hoping, I guess.
Guarantee he was at the
she
bar
really
last
guessed.
night. I know he was
Didn't
at the
work
bar
out too
last
well.
night.
But yeah, we need a very serious cut. You know, I think that if you look back many decades ago, the United States was always the lowest, even if they were doing badly.
Yeah, that
The
shiner.
United States was, because without the United States, everything in the world would die.
Don't look
It's
at the
true.
camera.
It's
Don't
so
look at the
powerful.
camera.
It's so big, and I made it.
It's a
I
shiner.
made it really big in the first 4 years. Then it started to degenerate with what this Biden administration did. But we built it up to a level that I never thought we could be at this quickly. We're the hottest, we're the best financially. The money coming in is so big because of tariffs and other things, but because of tariff. Tariff gets us even those other things. Plus it gets us great negotiating. I settled 7 wars, and numerous of those wars were because of trade. And numerous of the trade deals that I made were because of tariffs. It gives you a great negotiating ability.
See?
If that ability were taken
I
away
told y'all
from
he
us
was using
by a
tariff to
liberal
get us
court
back in
acting
trades,
on essentially foreign nations
selling our
asking
defenses.
to get help from the United States government. When they've been doing this to us for 40 years, that's why we have $38 trillion in debt. We won't have it for long if they let us, if they allow us to do what everybody knows we should be able to do. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, another Biden era action that you're now reversing is that you signed a deal last week to make federal buildings adopt and embrace classical architecture styles again. Can you talk to us about why you do that, and also what's your vision?
Well, we want to see beautiful buildings. Now, you know, it's in the eye of the beholder. I've seen architectural reviews over the years.
We just want to see beautiful buildings.
Reviews. But I've seen buildings that I didn't think were very good get great reviews, and I've seen great buildings get bad reviews. So, but it's just a standard. We want to have a good standard. We're building something here, you know, for 150 years they wanted a ballroom at the White House. We're doing something at the highest level, using great architects and all. And, you know, it's very exciting. But we have a lot of interesting things happening architecturally in D.C. And D.C. is like a different place. And, you know, even the contractor said, sir, we walk down today, we feel like much safer. It's like a different place. Washington, D.C. is great. Now, we're going to also beautify it. We're going to put a topping on the roads. We're not going to rip them apart and take 4 years to build a road that was exactly the same by the time you build it. But we're going to put toppings. We're going to put new medians in. We're going to get the graffiti off. We're going to put tiles up in the tunnels where the tiles are missing. And we'll do the whole tunnel instead of, you know, a little area where you see new tiles, old tiles that never look too good, but they could use it. You know, they've been up 50 years. They've served their duty. But we're going to make this within about a 20-mile radius from the White House. We're going to have this place spick and span. It's going to be crime-free, and it's going to be spick and span. It's going to be, you'll be proud of Washington again. Go ahead, please.
Sir, China's having a massive military parade that President Putin and Kim Jong-un will be attending. Do you interpret that as a challenge to the US? Are you concerned at all about those countries trying to be some sort of counterweight?
Not at all. China needs us. And I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know. But China needs us much more than we need them. No, I don't see that at all, no. And I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it. If it doesn't, we'll take a different stance.
March today in California ruled that the deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles was illegal. Do you have any response?
Well, it was a...
number 3 was a bonus. And number 3...
Quickly, what did you not tell me?
I'm going to give you 2 reasons.
Question or statement that you meant pretty much of a statement.
Well, I was asking for your response.
No, you didn't say what the judge said, though. The judge said, but you can leave the 300 people that you already have in place. They can continue to be in place. That's all we need. But why didn't you put that as part of your statement? Because the same judge ruled exactly as you said, except the judge said that you can leave the 300 people that you already have in place. They can stay, they can remain, they can do what they have to do. Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
They know they didn't answer no questions. They didn't tell us shit.
Well, thank you very much. It's a very important.
First, I want to address the president's unhinged remarks a few minutes ago, begging me to call him. No.
Well, thank you very much. It's a very, but I just want to congratulate you. It's a very big deal.
A few minutes ago, begging me to call him. No, I will not call the president, asking him to send troops to Chicago. I've made that clear already. I know this has been an unsettling and difficult 10 days for the people of Chicago and Illinois. I'm going to do my best to share what we know as of today and speak frankly to the people of Illinois. Rumors have been swirling about what the White House has planned, and sifting fact from fiction has been increasingly difficult because Donald Trump's administration is not working in coordination with the city of Chicago, Cook County, or the state of Illinois.
Yeah, the cabinet meeting.
I want to take a moment at the top of my remarks to note how truly extraordinary it is for the federal government to refuse to coordinate with local law enforcement and government. Our state police regularly works with the FBI, the ATF, the DEA to go after gangs and gun runners and drug cartels. Under previous White House administrations, we regularly received notice and worked together on crime-fighting operations. This city has hosted major political conventions, flashpoint events like the NATO conference, and huge sports and entertainment gatherings over the years and across many presidential administrations. All those events required significant coordination between all levels of government. Some, like the Democratic National Convention last year, even required a limited deployment of the Illinois National Guard for broad security purposes, including especially preventing terrorism. For that 4-day event, there were conversations and meetings that began 1 year before the convention between my office, the mayor's office, the county board president's office, CPD, state police, the FBI, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. The mayor and I were briefed at the highest levels of government, and we pledged unwavering support in the effort to pull off a convention that kept attendees safe and protected the rights of all citizens to express their First Amendment rights. The convention was a true success because of that collaboration.
You guys make sure y'all go follow.
Requires coordination.
Go follow Ralph the Wise on TikTok. Go follow this account on TikTok.
On Saturday, the head of the Illinois State Police received a phone call from CBP's Chief Patrol Agent, Gregory Bovino, indicating that ICE would be deploying to Chicago. It's the first outreach we have received from the Trump administration on this topic. Bovino was short on details and long on rhetoric. So in the absence of significant federal coordination, we've gathered information from unauthorized patriotic officials inside the government and from well-sourced reporters about Donald Trump's plan, which is to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. I'm aware that the President of the United States likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the President for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump again. What I want are the federal dollars that have been promised to Illinois and Chicago for violence prevention programs that have proven to work. That is money that Illinois taxpayers send to the federal government, and it's an insult to any and every citizen to suggest that any governor should have to beg the president of any political party for resources owed their people. I'd like to ask a question of my own, and it's one the press should be asking as well. When did we become a country where it's okay for the U.S. president to insist on national television that a state should call him to beg for anything, especially something we don't want? Have we truly lost all sense of sanity in this nation, that we treat this as normal? As I have done since becoming governor, I've been reflecting on my responsibilities to the people of Illinois. And one of those duties is to share with the public exactly what we know. In the coming days, we expect to see what has played out in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. to happen here in Chicago. First, Donald Trump is positioning armed federal agents and staging military vehicles on federal property, such as the Great Lakes Naval Base. It is likely those agents will be with ICE Customs and Border Patrol, the Department of Homeland Security, and other similarly situated federal agencies. Many of these individuals are being relocated from Los Angeles for deployment in Chicago. We believe that staging that has already begun started yesterday and continues into today. Second, unidentifiable agents in unmarked vehicles with masks are planning to raid Latino communities and say they're targeting violent criminals.
Damn.
As we saw in Los Angeles, a very small percentage
Somebody
of the
leaked
individuals
it.
they will target.
Somebody leaked it to him. When was this response? This was recent. Yeah, somebody leaked it to him. Somebody told him, you know, Trump planning some shit. Somebody leaked it to him. Let them know what Trump planning. They planning on coming in Chicago, masked men, all types of shit. I told y'all we gotta keep track of this stuff. I told y'all, man, y'all make sure y'all tap the screen, like the live, and make sure y'all subscribe. Just hit that like button. Let's get over 100 likes in here. Let's get over 100 likes.
Will be violent.
If you're not a bot, like the live,
Instead, we're likely to see videos of them hauling away mothers and fathers, traveling to work or picking up their kids from school. Sometimes they will detain, handcuff, and haul away children. They are law-abiding individuals who pay taxes and contribute to the communities who feel safe going to work and attending mandatory immigration check-ins. In other words, they're following the law. We have reason to believe that Stephen Miller chose the month of September to come to Chicago because of celebrations around Mexican Independence Day that happen here every year. It breaks my heart to report that we have been told ICE will try and disrupt community picnics and peaceful parades. Let's be clear, the terror and cruelty is the point, not the safety of anyone living here. Third, as lawful citizens exercise their First Amendment rights, Trump and his team will be looking for any excuse to put active duty military on our streets, supposedly to protect ICE. We have reason to believe that the Trump administration has already begun staging the Texas National Guard for deployment in Illinois. I want to be very clear on this point, and I want to speak directly to the press right now. We know, before anything has happened here, that the Trump plan is to use any excuse to deploy armed military personnel to Chicago. If someone flings a sandwich at an ICE agent, Trump will try and go on TV and declare an emergency in Chicago. I'm imploring everyone, if and when that happens, do not take the bait. Lastly, after about 30 days or so, we believe that they will pick up all of those resources that they send here to Chicago and send them to the next city in a blue state, ignoring cities in red states with higher violent crime rates than we have. None of this is about fighting crime or making Chicago safer. None of it. For Trump, it's about testing his power and producing a political drama to cover up for his corruption. If you need any proof of this, that it's all a big show, well, look at who they're putting in charge. Gregory Bovino, a guy who desperately wants to be a reality TV star. He led the cruel adventures of ICE in Los Angeles, and he's been sent here to do the very same thing. Go look at his social media. He terrorizes innocent people and then posts on TikTok edits of himself. Apparently, this is a Trump administration norm, because the last time we saw staged major ICE raids in Chicago, they sent Dr. Phil here to embed with the agents so he could get views and likes for his social media. When Bovino pulled these stunts in LA, people got hurt. 2 innocent people died trying to flee his masked agents. ICE opened fire on a vehicle without dangerous provocation. They detained a disabled 15-year-old drew their guns on him. They have ripped mothers away from their babies and handcuffed 10-year-olds. In Washington, they pulled over firefighters headed to fight an actual wildfire and detained 2 of the firefighters on duty in that effort. And they want to bring all of that to Chicago. During one of Bovino's raids, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol's own data indicated that their officers had no prior knowledge of criminal or immigration history for 77 of the 78 people arrested. Again, this is not about crime. More and more reports around these raids include people who were stopped or detained because of how they look, and not because of any threat to the public. If any of this was about dealing with the complexities of a broken immigration system, then Trump would have had the Congress Trump Republicans control write and pass a comprehensive immigration bill. Not only has that not happened, there is no talk of any such effort on the horizon. I know how Donald Trump thinks because I've been governor during both of his terms. He has surrounded himself with groveling yes men who are too weak to restrain his most violent and unhinged impulses, or who share those impulses. As a governor who cares about the well-being of my people, I can't live in a fantasy land where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. I have to deal in facts, and here they are. Crime is down in Chicago. Murders are down by almost 50% in the last 4 years. Shootings are down 57%. Robberies down 34%. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%. One violent crime is too many, and we have more work to do. But we have made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing. Just during the last week, I've been in neighborhoods across Chicago, from Bronzeville to South Shore to Chatham to Little Village. The president's absurd characterizations do not match what is happening on the ground here. He has no idea.
Oh, we 3 away from 100 likes. We 3 away from 100 likes.
Troops. He is insulting the people of Chicago by calling our home a hellhole. And anyone who takes his word at face value is insulting Chicagoans too. Crime is a reality that we all take seriously, me especially. I've held the hands of grieving mothers who have lost their kids to gun violence. I've been in consistent contact with law enforcement and managed our state through some of its toughest moments. That has informed our comprehensive evidence-based approach to crime, hiring more police officers and giving them more funding, gun and drug and gang interdiction, investing in community violence intervention, mental health supports, more substance use treatment. Those programs have shown real progress. Then you know what happened? Donald Trump and his Republican allies in Congress cut those programs because they are unserious people who seem to know nothing about fighting crime. We are ready to fight troop deployments in court, and we will do everything possible to ensure that agents operating inside the confines of this state do so in a legal and ethical manner. To Chicagoans, what you can do is look out for your communities and your neighbors. Know your rights. Film things that you see happening in your neighborhoods and your streets and share them with the news media. Authoritarians thrive on your silence. Be loud for America. To everyone listening, but most especially to the press, I refuse to pretend that any of this is normal. I refuse to concede that the abject cruelty that we're seeing play out with the execution of Trump and Stephen Miller's policies are okay or justified. I refuse to fall into the pundit trap that demands we sacrifice vital constitutional rights if it's being done in the fake guise of fighting crime. Because, as I said 6 months ago in my State of the State address, any rational person who has spent even the most minimal amount of time studying human history has to ask themselves on one important question. Once they get the citizens of this nation comfortable with the current atrocities committed under the color of law, what comes next? Now I'd like to turn the podium over to the mayor of the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, President Preckwinkle, Lieutenant Governor Stratton for being here, and our Attorney General Raul, to the members of the press. Today we stand here united as the state of Illinois, Cook County, and the city of Chicago to send a very clear message. We do not want or need military occupation in our city. We do not want or need militarized immigration enforcement in our city. We have been clear on that, and we will continue to take every single measure that we can to protect our people from these threats. However, I also want to be clear about this. There are measures that the federal government can take right now to help continue to drive down violence and crime in our city. We need the federal government to stop the endless flow of guns into our state and into our city. Chicago police officers have taken more than 24,000 guns, illegal guns, off the streets of Chicago since I've taken office. Over 24,000 illegal guns taken off the streets of Chicago since I've been in office. They have worked hard every single day to make our city safer, and they've made historic progress. However, we will never be able to end gun violence in Chicago as long as the president continues to allow tens of thousands of guns to be trafficked into our state and our city. The vast majority of guns do not come from Chicago. They are not made in Cook County. They are not bought in the state of Illinois. These guns come from red states. They are coming from Indiana. They are coming from Mississippi. They are coming from Louisiana. And that is the harsh reality, whether Republicans like it or not. Occupying our city will do nothing to solve this problem. No matter how much work we do or how hard we work, whether it's expanding our Detectives Bureau, investing in community violence intervention, and addressing the root causes of crime, none of it will ever be enough until the president decides to end the mass trafficking of guns in our city. For every gun that the Chicago Police Department fights to get off the streets, 2 or 3 more new guns come into our city. Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people. We have sued Glock over their semi-automatic guns that are easily converted into automatic weapons with switches. We have taken down gun stores in Indiana that illegally sell thousands of guns to traffickers who move them into Chicago. But whatever we shut down, and whenever we do this, another one pops up. The governor has worked extremely hard to strengthen our gun control laws across our state. And as much as we would like to, we cannot send officers across state lines to stop this problem at the source. We only have jurisdiction over our own city. The governor only has jurisdiction over our state lines. It is the role, more importantly, the responsibility of the federal government and the president to stop the trafficking of weapons across state lines. For every shooting in Chicago, there is a gun trafficker in Mississippi making money. There is a gun trafficker in Louisiana profiting off of our pain. And this is a serious problem that has gone on for far too long, and it requires serious solutions. We wrote a letter to President Biden after a mass shooting in Chicago 2 years ago, asking for more resources to stop gun violence in our city by deploying federal agents to hold these gun traffickers accountable. President Biden responded with more resources and stronger enforcement, and that alone had a significant impact on gun violence in our city. We need President Trump to do the same. Instead of using militarized ICE agents to terrify our communities here in Chicago, instead of sending in Border Patrol to our city to detain mothers and fathers who have called Chicago their home for decades, working class people who pay their taxes and make our communities stronger, they should direct those resources to taking down gun traffickers so that we can finally put a stop to the violence. If the Chicago Police Department had a fighting chance, we could end gun violence in Chicago. But as long as this president allows hundreds of thousands of guns to come into our city, we will always be fighting an uphill battle. And so our call to the president and to his fellow Republicans who want to weaponize the tragedy of gun violence, the Republicans who want to use the pain of families who have lost loved ones to shootings, and who want to use our city as a punching bag. Our response is that they should get their own house in order before they say anything about the city of Chicago. We have done tremendous work with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF in Chicago. On August 4th, ATF worked with the Chicago Police Department to take 171 guns off the streets in just one action. They took 64 machine gun switches. These are devices that turn guns into automatic weapons, and they are almost always found on the scene of mass shootings in our city. These guns are linked to shootings and homicides in Chicago, going all the way back to 2017, including the killing of a 14-year-old boy. So my question is, why did Trump cut $468 million from ATF's budget in his nasty signature bill? Why did he cut funding for the agency responsible for getting guns off our streets by almost 30%? Why did he cut 1,465 positions from an agency that is so critical to reducing gun violence? They cut funding from the agency that is actually stopping gun traffickers so they could increase funding for ICE and Border Patrol. I'm going to repeat that again so that it sinks in. Trump gutted the agency that actually catches gun traffickers just so that he could hand money to ICE and Border Patrol. This president doesn't care about gun violence. He just wants his own secret police force that would do publicity stunts whenever his poll numbers are sinking, whenever his jobs report shows a stagnating economy, whenever he needs another distraction from his failures. That's what this is about. The Trump administration continues to try to use the real pain and loss of gun violence victims as a pretext for expanding his own power. Unfortunately, even some elected officials in our city and state have parroted these lies. But here's the truth. Donald Trump is the last person in America who cares about families on the south and west side of Chicago, those who are dealing with violence on a regular basis. He's the last person. The thought doesn't even cross his mind. If he did, he wouldn't have cut $800 million from violence prevention organizations. These are funds that would have gone towards organizations on the south and west side who are on the front lines driving down gun violence. He wouldn't have cut $468 million from ATF. He wouldn't be sending ICE and Border Patrols to Chicago. He would be sending ATF agents to Mississippi. He would be sending these agents to Indiana. He's worried about the wrong border. We don't have an immigration crisis in Chicago. We have a gun crisis, and the president could care less about the real solutions. In closing, violence in Chicago is not because we have too many immigrants. It's because we have too many guns. So our message to Trump continues to be the same. Stop posting Truth Social.
That doesn't even make sense. Even DMX can tell you guns don't kill people, people kill people. What the fuck is he talking about? It don't matter how many guns you put in a fucking state, somebody's got to be there wanting to use the shit. Our problem is not people. Our problem is guns. We have too many guns. Well, who the fuck is using these guns? These motherfuckers ain't got no mind of their own. The guns ain't just walking around pew-pewing motherfuckers. What is he talking about? A gun need an operator. Huh? A gun need an operator. He's like, we don't have a problem on people. We have a problem on guns. There's too many guns. Fucking DMX said, guns don't kill people. People kill people. We learned that shit in Romeo Must Die. Or Cradle to the Grave. Whatever movie it was.
Stop making statements. Stop threatening to send troops or ICE. Stop defunding our communities. Just do your job and end the trafficking of guns into our city. And thank you. With that, we'll turn the podium over to the Cook County Board President, Tony Preckwinkle.
Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, Mayor Johnson, Attorney General Raoul, for standing in solidarity with the people of Illinois, Cook County, and Chicago. 4 years ago, leaders from the county, the state, and the city formed the Government Alliance for Safe Communities to collaboratively confront the gun violence crisis. This alliance works to maximize the impact of public funding, build cross-sector partnerships, and support organizations working on the ground to reduce violence. Together, we've made historic investments in community safety. Over the last 3 years, Cook County alone has invested over $100 million in community violence intervention and other evidence-backed violence prevention strategies. We will soon launch a new capacity-building network to provide training and technical assistance to strengthen organizations and maximize their impact in communities. Our government partners at the state and city level have also invested at unprecedented levels. Why do I bring this up? Because it's working. In Cook County, we've seen a 35% drop in gun homicides from this time last year and a 45% drop in gun homicides from 2021. I'm going to say that again. In Cook County, we've seen a 35% drop in gun homicides from this time last year and a 45% drop in gun homicides from 2021. Our investments are working. Meanwhile, President Trump is freezing $158 million in funding for violence prevention programs in cities like Chicago. He's dismantling the Office of Gun Violence Prevention and terminating $800 million in anti-violence grants nationwide. Needless to say, crime prevention is not his true agenda. The president is reducing resources that are working while undercutting local efforts. He is deploying active duty military personnel within our own borders. This is our America today. I say all this as we gather at a critical moment in our nation's history. For generations, our parents and grandparents believed that democracy was not simply an idea. It was a promise that people, not soldiers, should decide the future of our communities. That promise is now being tested. Threats from the federal administration to send ground troops to Chicago will test us. Let me be clear. There is no emergency in Chicago that warrants federalizing the National Guard, deploying the National Guard from other states, or sending active duty military personnel within our own borders. Their presence has not been requested by local leaders. The streets of Chicago belong to the residents of Chicago. They do not belong to federal troops. They do not belong to those who would use intimidation and violence as tools of political oppression. As the president of Cook County Board, I've spent my career working to make our institutions more fair, just, and accountable. Democracy is strongest when our people feel empowered, not threatened. If our residents see soldiers in combat gear patrolling their neighborhoods, they won't feel safer, they'll feel intimidated. Rather than troops, here's what's needed. We need the Trump administration to pass bipartisan, comprehensive immigration reform. Restore community violence intervention grants. Lower the cost of goods impacted by tariffs. And restore cuts to Medicaid and SNAP that take away health care coverage and food from the table. History teaches us that democracy is not self-sustaining. It requires constant vigilance. It requires courage. And most importantly, it requires people willing to stand up and say, no, you will not trample our rights. To the people of Cook County, I say this: do not be intimidated. Do not be silenced. Democracy depends on your voice, your courage, and your peaceful, I'll say that again, peaceful participation. Stand tall, speak up, and remember that no troops, no weapons, no show of force is stronger than united communities that refuse to yield our rights. Chicago will not succumb to threats, and Cook County will not be silenced. I'd like to welcome to the podium the Attorney General of the state of Illinois, Kwame Raoul.
Thank you, Madam President, Governor, Mr. Mayor, and Lieutenant Governor. I'd like to repeat something the Governor said. We cannot, and not anybody in this room can be dumbed down to believing that any of this is normal. President Trump has been utilizing the notion that he and he alone can deal with crime in American cities. And his preferred tool in doing so is the American military. The problem with this approach is that it's both bad strategy and illegal. I won't deny any day that we do have a serious crime problem in Chicago, as do American cities throughout the nation, in red states and in blue states. Recent mass shootings and reports of other crime are horrific. While Chicago's crime problem is serious, it is far from the worst in the country. President Trump's approach of using the military is bad strategy because the National Guard is not trained to do local crime fighting. Furthermore, the use of the National Guard as a crime-fighting force is simply not sustainable. It is further bad strategy because there has been no effort by the president to collaborate with local leaders or local law enforcement. Collaboration and a comprehensive approach is critical to successful crime fighting. Since the outset of my tenure as Attorney General, I and other local law enforcement partners have worked closely.
Hell is he speaking from?
with
Batman?
law enforcement partners, including the FBI, DEA, ATF, Secret Service, and others, to investigate and prosecute criminal activity in Illinois. And this
I am
one-team
Batman
approach to fighting crime, utilizing combined intelligence, experienced, well-trained agents.
Did I mention I am Batman?
And state-of-the-art technology.
Just say y'all need help.
Great results.
Just say the shit.
It combines.
Just say the shit.
Community
Yes, we need help.
in providing for victims of crime has led to a significant reduction in crime. If President Trump wanted to contribute to fighting crime in Chicago, he would steer more resources to these federal agencies that are collaborating with local law enforcement instead of dramatically cutting their budget. If President Trump were serious about fighting crime, he would not be cutting funding to proven community violence interruption efforts. If President Trump were serious about fighting crime, I would not have to have sued him 2 weeks ago, sued the Department of Justice 2 weeks ago for threatening to deprive resources for victims of crime based on unrelated immigration criteria. If President Trump were serious about fighting crime, he would not enter into collusive settlement to put machine gun trigger reset back out onto the street, devices back on onto the streets. President Trump's plan is not only bad strategy.
Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the page. Go check out the JFK video that I just put up. I just put up a JFK short. Make sure y'all go check that out. Comment on that. We will be possibly bringing a conversation about that to the table. I know it's pretty much old news, but they never really revealed the second shooter. They never really revealed their involvement. They never really revealed the driver who actually, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out, and I think we need to talk about it. So, make sure y'all subscribe to the page. Love is love.
But it is illegal. The militia clauses of the United States Constitution give Congress sole authority to decide the circumstances that allow the president to federalize the National Guard. The 10th Amendment preserves state sovereignty to enforce state laws as they see fit. As recognized by Judge Charles Breyer today in California, the Posse Comitatus Act limits the federal government's ability to use the military for domestic law enforcement. Although the president does have limited, and I repeat, limited authority to deploy the National Guard to help federal law enforcement in specific circumstances, none of these circumstances exist in Chicago. We are not being invaded by a foreign nation. There is no rebellion against the federal government as there was on January 6th. There does not exist an inability to enforce federal law in Chicago. Federal courts are open. Federal criminal cases are being prosecuted and investigated every day. And as I mentioned, federal criminal investigations in collaboration with local law enforcement are taking place on a daily basis. The president has failed to establish that any of these prerequisites required by Congress through the Posse Comitatus Act exists. Let's be clear. The president's plan is not about fighting crime. It's purely performative. He wants to demonstrate a show of military force towards American citizens as we would only see in authoritarian countries like China, North Korea, or Russia. He is hoping to sow chaos by inciting out-of-control protests. Chicago, we have demonstrated that we can protest peacefully. It is imperative that we do not take the bait. Exercise your First Amendment rights, but do so peacefully without violence or destruction of property. I invite folks to visit my website, IllinoisAttorneyGeneral.gov, and review free guidance before you participate in protests. This
So he's encouraging them to
frequently
protest?
disregards our Constitution and federal law. In fact, the president has even questioned whether he has to comply with our Constitution. But we are here to say that no president can flout the Constitution, not here in Illinois. In Illinois, we care about the rule of law, and we intend to preserve it.
Right, what's his plan?
As Governor Pritzker already said, there is no emergency in Chicago. I've been in touch with the governor's office and the City of Chicago Corporation Council, and we will not hesitate to take action to protect our residents if this administration breaks the law or violates our Constitution.
Hold the fuck up. Hold up. So y'all ain't gonna hesitate for the administration, but y'all letting gangs and criminal, like what the fuck? Make that shit make sense. How you gonna go against the person who's trying to stop gang violence and protect the residents of your state? You're gonna go against that person, and you're not going against gangs or what? So you what? Nah, we in the upside down world for real. We in the upside down world. This world is not real.
And with that, I'd like to pass the mic to our Lieutenant Governor.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I'm so proud to serve as Illinois' Lieutenant Governor at this moment in history. Thank you to Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, and Attorney General Raul, and everyone standing here together to defend our people. My entire career to creating safer communities across our state. As Lieutenant Governor, I lead councils and initiatives focused on addressing the root causes of violence and delivering peace. I've had countless conversations with people who have been impacted by crime, and I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that no one, absolutely no one, has ever asked to militarize our city. This performance by Donald Trump and the puppets in his administration has nothing to do with eliminating crime. This con is about power, control, and fear. Trump is weaponizing federal agents against vulnerable communities in an effort to scare us all. When we see our neighbors snatched from the sidewalk and peaceful residents thrown into unmarked vans, it will hit a nerve, and it should. But he is banking on the heartbreak any decent person would feel watching this abuse so that he can manipulate tensions and further his power.
Nobody cares about the people.
Soldiers to Chicago.
Besides the people.
The Pritzker-Stratton administration has been working closely with community and advocacy organizations to prepare resources ahead of this invasion. And while we can't take the fear of this moment away, we can help equip you to face whatever comes next. If you or someone you love aren't sure what resources exist for immigrants in our state,
Yo, I know they didn't put her up there and tell her to read that damn slogan. I know they didn't tell her to get up there and read that slogan. If you or someone you love, I know damn well, tell her to read this. This shit sound like a or some shit. If you or someone you love is suffering from mesothelioma, call us now. You could be looking at thousands of dollars for.
I want you to go to IllinoisImmigrationInfo.org. Let me repeat that.
If you or someone you love is suffering from immigration.
On the front page, there's a red button.
They made her read that shit. She didn't want to read no shit like that.
That takes you to a complete Know Your Rights toolkit.
If you someone you love.
Specific guidance for different scenarios. Also on that front page is a red button that says Get Legal Help. If you or someone you know needs an immigration lawyer,
repeated that
this
shit.
Page has resources for finding representation. IllinoisImmigrationInfo.org also offers a family emergency plan template so you and your family can make a plan together before anything happens.
Right.
And if you do end up facing an immigration emergency, call the Family Support Network hotline at 1-855-435-7693. There are translation services available and people ready to help.
They think Trump going in and snatching them
Our
up.
goal
They
is
telling
not to scare
immigrants to
anyone,
help.
but to prepare
Trump's
everyone
coming.
to face some ugly
Trump's coming,
realities
so call
in
us.
the coming days.
See?
Many Illinoisans
Ugly realities in the
who
coming
look
days.
a certain way are going to spend this time living in deep fear. That will mean skipping celebrations, avoiding certain places, and keeping in constant contact with your loved ones. The best thing that those at risk can do in this moment is to prioritize your health, mental wellness, and safety above all else. To those who have the privilege of never knowing what it feels like to question your safety because of how you look, this is your moment to step up and step in. Raise your voices on behalf of those who cannot. Chicago has a long history of peaceful protest. We're no strangers to calling out corruption and speaking up when our rights are on the line. We've shown that peace begets progress, and it's time to do it again. This version of America is not safe for anyone's American dream. If we take each other's hands and push back against this hate with every fiber of our being. Despite the gaping lack of humanity in Trump's soul, we know who America really is. A place where our ancestors triumphed over evils even greater than those we face today. A place where goodness exists alongside complexity. A place where goodness is real and powerful and worth fighting for. We are with you, Chicago and Illinois. Our only way forward is together. And so, together, we will march. With that, I will ask Governor Pritzker to come back to answer questions from the media. Thank you.
Yes.
Because sources in the Texas governor's office just told my colleagues that that's not accurate.
Well, good. Keep asking. And let's be clear, I'm not going to reveal the sources. These are people who are patriotic Americans who either work in the administration or work in the various branches of the military who've been willing to share what they know with us.
Say
that again, I'm sorry.
Challenging the presidency court is going to take a while. Are you projecting any type of fiscal intervention in case there are raids in Latino communities? Like physically intervening?
We're not asking any of our law enforcement to interfere with the federal government agents that are coming. We are suggesting that there are people who no doubt will be deeply concerned about this, citizens, residents of Chicago, who will speak out, who will film situations that occur and make sure that they're known to the media and that they get known to the rest of the American public.
Send in the troops.
You responded to one part of what the president said in the Oval Office, but you also said when asked about the National Guard in Chicago, said, quote, "We're going." Can you respond to that, and can you tell us, are there any plans for a preemptive lawsuit?
Well, there's no such thing as a preemptive lawsuit. If something occurs that trips the wire that allows us to go into court, and I'll just look at the Attorney General when I say this to get his confirmation, we absolutely will go into court, but that hasn't occurred yet.
The comments aren't enough for enough?
We're going in is not enough. No, we don't know this particular factual basis that he would be suggesting to federalize the Guard, and so we have to be able to respond to facts, not predicting what he's going to be relying upon and what they're going to be doing specifically.
To answer the first part of your question, yeah, he said they're sending troops. I just confirmed for you that we had heard that already, and so we knew that. I want to make sure that whenever we have information that we share it with the public, make sure that they know, because they need to protect their own rights.
Can you elaborate on the information that you used at the beginning of your address about things that are going on right now? Mobilization that's underway right now. What specifically is underway right now?
Well, we're aware from some media reports, as well as from reporters who have pretty good sources, that they, in fact, have gathered ICE agents and military vehicles, and that there are more ICE agents that are on the way. And again, many of the people who are coming seem to be coming from Los Angeles and having been part of that raid. So if you want to look at what it is that they're planning to do, you can just look at what they did in Los Angeles.
Can you, will the Chicago Police Department be authorized to actually arrest federal agents that violate municipal code now on masks and identification?
What you've already seen with our executive order, we made it very clear what the distinction has to be. The local police department's responsibility is to protect the residents of the city of Chicago. That's what their role is, that's what the responsibility is, that's what they'll maintain. The whole point of this is to, ensure that all of the residents across the city of Chicago understand and know the distinction between what the federal agents are engaged in the role of the local police department. If these federal agents decide to work against what our local authority is, we'll use every single tool that is available to us. If you look at the ruling that just took place in Los Angeles, it actually cites what my executive order had already exposed.
Why are violent criminals allowed to wear masks in Chicago, but you don't want the ICE agents to wear masks? Oh, I'm sorry. Could you
Well, look, every time someone is shot, every time someone loses their life to violence, it's a tragedy. My heart breaks every single day when these tragedies occur. But as far as the work that we are doing to drive violence down in the city of Chicago, it's why I'm even more committed after a weekend like the one we just experienced. The fact of the matter is that we have illegal guns that are being trafficked in our city. That's the problem, right? We have done everything in our power locally, getting guns off the streets of Chicago, revamping our detectives bureau. We have a clearance rate of 76%, so we're solving violent crime in Chicago. And look, these are my neighbors, right? These are my neighbors. I wake up on the west side of Chicago, and neighborhoods across the south side of Chicago have dealt with violence for 60 years. The progress that we are making doesn't mean that we stop. There's more work to do, and I'm going to continue that work.
What do you say to people who might look at D.C. as who might wonder if had the guard been 58 people might not have been shot, 8 of them might not have been killed?
Well, if you look at what's happening in D.C., I believe the actions were traffic stops and misdemeanors. No one is asking for that in Chicago. In fact, the amount of money that is being spent by the federal government, if we were to have those resources in Chicago right now, I could reopen every single mental health clinic that was closed. I can hire every single young person that was looking for a job. We could double the amount of individuals who are serving as sea workers. Here's the harsh reality. What the president is proposing does not set us up for long-term sustainability. He's not serious. Because here's another question I would ask. If he was serious, why would he cut 30% from the ATF budget that we have been working with over the course of my administration to get illegal guns off the streets?
Yeah. Mayor Johnson, over 4,000 people have been shot.
Yes, sir.
No, answer that one question. That 4,000 people been shot in the last year.
Miller. I have not heard that yet from ICE, but we know that what Stephen Miller wants to have happen with ICE is usually what happens. So we're deeply concerned about it. No doubt the mayor, our state police, our CPD, all are going to be on guard, thinking about how do we preserve the lives of and the livelihoods of and protect the people of the city of Chicago in a circumstance where they're simply celebrating their heritage. They shouldn't be interrupted in this way. This is an aim of this government. They don't actually care if you're here and undocumented. They just care if your skin color is a little off of theirs and that you're Latino. They're gonna just target you without knowing anything. Do you, by the way, does anybody in this room walk around with citizenship papers? I mean, really? None of us have citizenship papers on us. So the question is, they're going after these people, rounding people up, throwing them into vans without telling their families, without reading them their rights, taking them off the streets in masks, in unmarked cars. I mean, this is what's happening in the streets of the nation. And what we need to do is step back and ask, is this president following the law and what he's doing? Is ICE following the law? And all of us need to speak up and speak out about the assault on just regular residents who are following the law, who are going to work, paying their taxes, who've been around in our city for 10, 20, 30 years. We ought to be protecting those people. And if they want to celebrate Mexican Independence Day, they ought to be able to do that without being terrorized by ICE. Olivia.
You called for mass destruction. I think Governor all wants to said, don't take the case. They're going to want to leave in more troops. So what exactly are you suggesting that Chicago is doing for those days? To follow the last question, do you suggest that people choose the Mexican understand that sort of thing?
I'm not suggesting anything about that. Certainly the Chicago Police Department, the city of Chicago, that's hosting the Mexican Independence Day events will work with state police and others to determine how that ought to be handled. Sorry, your first question is just the focus on what I said a few weeks ago, or actually a couple of months ago. Yeah, guess what? People ought to be speaking out about what this administration is doing. I'm doing it from this podium, but people can go protest. People are holding up signs on street corners with their friends to protest. There are thousands of people, indeed millions of people, that showed up for No King's Day. I'm encouraging people to peacefully, have said that all along, megaphones, microphones, go to the ballot box. Those are all the things that I said. Let's be clear. And to the extent that people want to protest, they have that First Amendment right to do so. All I'm saying, as I said back then, is that you ought to do it peacefully and that you ought to make your voices heard.
Thank you.
Well, so Chicago has revealed that they got, information saying that Trump plans on coming in and sneaking in. So look, like really, it's gonna be both ways. Like, what's the administration gonna do? The next thing the administration would do is probably put some people there to commit crimes, so that way they can say, look, you need our help more than you think. Right? That's the type of shit that would happen, right? It's about to get ugly. So it's about to be a lot of stage events. We can't be pushing peace in other countries and then not be peaceful here. We got to find a way to be peaceful too and work with each other. So yes, Chicago needs help. Yes, they should figure out some form or way to, help the people of Chicago. And, that should be figured out. And we should do it, conductively with each other. It shouldn't be this fight. If they come in, peaceful solutions, we got to do this, we got to do that. Nah, this is outrageous. Come on, people. Let's work together here. All right, let's work together. If nobody told y'all that they love y'all today, let me be the first but not the last to tell you that I love you. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe to the page. Remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. We'll keep you guys posted on what's going on. Keep you guys on track on what's happening. We are going to definitely keep track of all of this stuff that's going on. World news. The bilateral meeting should have took place today. We should know more about that Putin and that bilateral meeting. We should know more about that today. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. We just waited all day for Trump. Yesterday, we waited all day for Trump to come out and say, and all he did was come out and say, well, we're moving the space station. So we got a new command center. Like, that's not the news we was waiting for. We was waiting for you to respond to that meeting that China, India, and Russia had. That's what we wanted him to respond to. They had a meeting on Labor Day that kind of like, basically said the same thing, that Trump's being a bully. They're rallying up the troops to try to fight the bullying that they say coming from the West because Trump's pushing all these tariffs, right? So let's get 4 more likes and get the 150 on the likes. But, otherwise, I appreciate you guys for being here. I hope you guys subscribe to the page, right? We're going to keep on bringing more world news, right? We're pushing for subscription this month, right? We're pushing to get monetized on this page. So every little bit helps. If you subscribe to the page, if you interact, if you don't interact, I appreciate all of it. Hopefully you guys subscribe to the page. Hopefully you guys like the news and keeping track with a little bit of commentary. I know I talk too much. That's why I go over to play the game on TikTok, because I talk too damn much. And a lot of people get tired of hearing my voice. I get that, right? But, we in it together. You know what I'm saying? We in it together. You guys are here with me, right? So make sure y'all subscribe to the page, okay? Put the light on. See? Look. See, I'm not fat. I'm not a fat guy. I'm not no, heavy, chunky guy sitting in the chair somewhere. You know what I mean? It just, make sure y'all subscribe to the page. If y'all want, y'all can come over and kick it on TikTok, where we go and game afterwards. So we go over there and game. Yeah, just out of shape. I'm not a fat guy. I'm just out of shape. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I ain't fat. I'm just out of shape. I'm getting back in shape, though. My abs will be back in like 3 more weeks. I'll have my abs back. So, yeah. We good. We good to go. Yeah, and I got a big-ass head, so, I got to have all types of hats. I got to have, I got to keep the hats. Got to keep the hat collection nice, you know what I mean? But I hope to see y'all come over to the TikTok, Atlas Gaming 111 over on TikTok. Hope to see some of y'all come over there and just stop in. Let me know that y'all from YouTube. It's Atlas Gaming 111. So Atlas Gaming 111 on TikTok, where we'll be playing the game. Man, I love you guys, man. I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys be great on purpose. Positive things. Hope all positive things happen for you guys today, right? And regardless whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I love you, okay? Whether you're Democrat or Republican, I love you. I know times is getting hard. We are all still in this together, okay? I think if we show a greater example here in America, I think other countries will look at that example that we show in America, and I think they will also follow that. So if we can sit down with understanding and just be at peace with one another, I think other countries might follow that example too and do the same thing. So I think it all starts with oneself, And I think if we just decide to change as a collective, I think that change can actually be addictive, and other people will want that change too. So if they see us, you know, buying into positivity, buying into being able to sit down in peace and talk to each other without walking away with feelings and emotions, I think a lot more people will buy into that idea of peace. So let's continue to make this space a good space for everyone to come and speak. And, you know, despite our different opinions, it's just an opinion. It shouldn't favor, you know, feelings and emotions, shouldn't hurt your feelings because I got an opinion, right? And we should all be able to voice our opinions in a respectful manner. So if you are being disrespectful, my mods are going to get you out of here. But let's create a space that we can all come and coerce and have, you know, different variations of conversations on different topics of the world. I appreciate you all for being here. I hope to see more of you in the Discord. We are rebuilding the Discord, so I hope to see you guys in the new Discord. I'd love to have you. As you can see, the mods are posting links. Check out the link tree. The link tree is a great place to find out all of the other applications that we actually move around on. So I appreciate you. We have a PayPal. We have a Cash App for if anybody want to donate or if anybody want to contribute. It would be greatly appreciated, and it all goes back to the Atlas Network. We also put music out on Spotify. If you are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, we have different albums out on those platforms. You can just type in Atlas Family Music Productions and you'll see our music on those different platforms. And once again, I hope everyone have a great day. And shout out to Lids for always providing me with great hats. We are trying to get sponsored by Lids. You know, shout out to Lids for always providing great hats. It's hard to come across hats in a 8 because my head's so big. You rarely see them in an 8. So shout out for Lids. I always got a special order my hats, you know what I mean? So shout out to Lids for always providing great hats. All right. And y'all have a great day, man. I hope y'all have a great day on purpose. All right.